Hey guys, we tried to start this Honda lawnmower today and it wasn't starting. Actually, for some reason this string is not getting, like tight enough. We put new gas in it and stuff like that, so we were leaving it outside. Half of the time it was not covered, but I've removed the carburetor and this is what I see inside. You could see kind of like what it looks to be like, almost like water and oil mixed together. So I believe this is gas here, the lighter stuff, and the water fell towards the bottom. At least that's what it looks like to me. Now apparently we do have some water in the system. This is what a carburetor looks like. It's all dirty on the inside. It's all dirty right here. I don't know why it's got this red residue here, but that's actually what it has. If you take a look at it, it's really, crummy. And that's what you see at the bottom there, a lot of this red stuff. So I'm gonna try to clean this thing up and hopefully put it back together, and that's going to work. We may have to, pour the oil out as well. Hey buddy, what you doing? My dog Diesel wants to play. So we have a seal here. But anyways, I'm just kind of using the rag to clean it up. I do have some heavy duty stuff like a wire brush here. It's not a right kind. I do have the right kind, but for now the main thing is just kind of like getting things cleaned up. And it's really crummy in here, so I'm gonna clean things up and get back. So I cleaned this up, it's for the most part it looks kind of clean here. Cleaned up the inside of this here, and that side, the back side, is a little bit more hard to get to it, but I'm just kind of using this. You could use a flathead, and I'm just basically just cleaning it up like that. All this gas, it's actually not a good quality gas. It's got a lot of ethanol in it, and it messes things up after a while, and it's really dirty on the inside over here, further. So like right there, I have to clean it up in there as well. So I cleaned it up a little bit more on the inside and stuff. It's definitely not perfect. So my plan is to put this in, connect everything back, and if it starts, then it's good. If it doesn't, I'm going to proceed to do the oil change and see if there's going to be any water in the actual engine, which very well can be, because there's water in here. There wasn't any fuel in the fuel tank, so somehow water made it inside. I just put the carburetor back. Time to start it. I don't have a lot of hope that it's going to start, but let's try it anyways. As you can see, this is kind of loose, which is kind of concerning to me. It's somewhat going back now. Wasn't doing that before. So that's what it was doing. That's what it's still doing. So there's a good chance there's oil probably inside of the engine. Let's just take a look. Apparently we got a couple problems. For some reason, this little gasket here, it basically, it's like paper. It disintegrated and it's leaking back here, and I tried tightening things and it just doesn't work. So that's just another thing I'm gonna have to work on. Just remove this. It does go on like this, and there's 3 bolts, one over here, one there. So remove it, just put the bolts inside. This is a muffler. I'm gonna remove it and see what's inside. Okay, when I'm gonna be tipping it over, chances are some oil is gonna come out. So that is that. So to replace the oil, I'm just gonna go and do it this method. Seems now that it actually makes sense just to drain it from here. It would be a lot easier. Just tip it over and and let's just drain everything. While the oil is draining, I decided to basically just do some observations, and this is something I did not expect. Look how much of this grass is just on here. This is definitely contributing to a weaker type of you know, pulling and stuff. Hey guys, I actually found that this has separated from the original place, this rubber seal, because the grass, I guess, got on it so bad that it separated. So now I'm trying to push it away, free this area, and push it back into its place. And I guess this was supposed to keep grass from going in, and it still failed. It is so bad, guys. Like, to try to remove this has taken me a while. But you see what I'm talking about? Like, this is supposed to go inside. Like that. So I'm gonna probably use some flatheads to push it in. I really did not mean to go into an actual tear down, but if this is the way grass looks like in here, what's going on in here? Let's take a look. Wow, things kind of came up. All right, there is a spring, that's why it came up like that. So there's some gear oil, stuff like that. So for the most part, seems to be all right. So I'm just going to close this up. So you want to put everything back like the crisscross or a star pattern, because if you don't, it's just not gonna work right. Okay, that is that. From what it looks like, a little bit of oil came out. This is an oil catch metal container thing. Let's see if any oil comes out. Sure enough, oil is coming out, but apparently wasn't flipped over far enough. I don't see any water, so that's a good sign. Well, this is what the oil looks like. It's definitely not clean. I got it completely flipped around now. There's no more oil coming out. Okay, let's get this back. So now, to put the oil, we have to put the oil in here until it starts leaking out. So this is a half a quart of oil. You do need about like a 1 quart of oil. I have another half of quart of oil in here. You might be wondering why I'm doing it that way, but I had some oil left over and I'm just using it up. It won't make a difference what's in the lawnmower. I will go ahead and actually replace this filter. So I'm gonna simply just insert the bolt, insert another bolt, align the holes, get them started a little bit. So muffler's on. Now I gotta put muffler heat shield. Okay, so for this one, just want to get this one started a little bit. So we could get this other one started. a little bit more challenging because it's at the bottom. Can't really see it. Okay, now we gotta change the seal. So anyways guys, time for us to fix the seal. Instead of the paper one, I'm gonna put this rubber one in. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this. So with this one, if you're not careful, you could just like really easily misalign things. What I like to normally do is just leave these bolts in here and just leave that seal in place like that. So over here it's pretty simple. You just have to kind of like be observative. There is already a seal here, so that just goes like that. This seal, you could clearly see that the way it sits, how it makes more sense, you know, it sits right there. So with this here, you have to pull out this tiny little spring, and then you have to pull out this other spring like that. So it's out. I really don't have to remove the fuel pipe this time, but I already tried removing the bolt upside down, but there's no room for me to really pull this out. So here's this seal. I'm going to leave it in there, but the seal that's on here, it just basically completely disintegrated. So instead of the seal, I'm gonna put this rubber seal on. Seems like it's the same size. It's just out of my parts bin. It's the way I like to do things. So I'm just gonna install this. Wow, I'm noticing something, that this was kind of like off balance a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and just stick this in here. Just align things up like that. And go ahead and actually start installing this. And I have this type of wrench. I could just tighten things up. Oh, it's much better. So let's see if this is going to leak this time. So I got it open right now. I did squeeze that pretty good, so a little bit surprising that it did that. I don't think it's leaking. Seems like it squeezed it down pretty good. So I could just leave it at that. So now we're gonna go ahead and actually put things back. So we're gonna put this spring here, and we're gonna put this spring back in that place. Now it's time for us to just basically, I call it like shish kebab. So we're just gonna put everything back how it was. This will make it very easy. So just basically slide that in over here like that. So that's in place. And then you wanna correctly slide this on. It probably would not matter much if you flipped it over. It's just a seal. And then this, you have to hold the bolts together and then put this other pipe back on. And I wonder if that has to go any special way, but for now it seems like it's correct. It's opening and closing. And then of course you take this other piece of puzzle here and you insert it this way. I wonder if it needs to be a certain way, but that's just how it is. It looks like that rubber piece came out, the breather hose, and then just align things up like that. So everything is good on there. Time to put the filter. Now for the filter, the rubber portion goes in there first like that. But before we do that, we just need to make sure we put this on. Go ahead and install the filter. And then we just have to snap it in. It's nice and tight. So now I'm gonna go ahead and actually replace the bolts. Hopefully things will work from here, but it might still need like some starting fluid to start. Maybe. And I did replace the spark plug, so we're good on that one.
Zmaleta. I'm 37 years old, and yes, I experienced success after buying my first home for cash. Back in 2011, I was broke, but I learned to solve problems on my own. Now, I'm helping others to solve their problems. I know what pitfalls to avoid to stay profitable in business. Need motivation to be more successful in your life? Do you have Sprinter expedite or business problems? Then subscribe. Let's find creative solutions to your problems. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my helpful videos.